Anyway, I would love to do like one of these fucking DEI things, okay? Oh, there's a DEI United Way. What is this? United Way Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, DEI vocabulary quiz. Okay, are you ready? Because these guys chirp a lot. They chirp a lot. They talk a big game about diversity, equity, inclusion, and how terrifying that is, okay? A 3-story office building does not have a working elevator. This is an example of Eurocentrism, cisgender, anti-racism, or ableism. Correct. Discrimination or prejudice against individuals with disabilities often resulting in the exclusion of marginalized or in the exclusion or marginalization of disabled people. Andrew, a 70-year-old grandfather of 6, signs up to go skydiving. When the day comes, the instructor laughs and asks Andrew if he really wants to participate at his age. This is an example of ageism. A heterosexual woman participates in a pride parade and actively advocates for LGBTQ+ rights in the workplace. This woman is A, to the LGBT community. Is the answer ally, BIPOC, ableism, or colorblind? This woman is an ableism to the LGBT community. This woman is a colorblind to the LGBT community. Correct. Ally, a person who supports and advocates for marginalized communities and actively works against oppression. What does BIPOC stand for? Bisexual, intersectional people of color. Black intersectional persons of culture. Black, indigenous, and people of color. Bisexual, indigenous, and persons of culture. Correct. Denying the Holocaust is an example of anti-racism, colorblind, classism, anti-Semitism. Someone whose gender identity and expression line up with their birth assigned at sex is transgender, cisgender, intersex, BIPOC. Correct. Cisgender, referring to people whose gender identity aligns with the sex they were assigned at birth. Blank is actively opposing discrimination based on race by advocating for changes in political, economic, and social life. Anti-racism is actively opposing discrimination based on race. Discrimination is actively opposing discrimination. Colorblind, classism is actively opposing discrimination based on race by advocating for changes in political, economical, and social life. Correct. Discrimination on the basis of socioeconomic status is ageism, ableism, gaslighting, classism. I love that classism is a thing as though it's like a real issue that anyone cares about. You know what I mean? It's like, what? This entire society is designed around being classist. And it certainly works in, like, capitalism is inherently classist. That is, like, the point of capitalism. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, or green. All of my students are the same. I don't see color. This quote is an example of what? Colorblind. What is cultural appropriation? A term used to describe the taking over of creative or artistic forms, themes, or practices by one cultural group from another. An identity term for a person who's attracted to all genders. The idea that multiple identities intersect to create a whole identity, dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. Discrimination is the prejudicial treatment of different people, especially on the grounds of race, age, or sex. A form of stereotyping based on preconceived ideas about a person's character refers to the unquestioned and unearned set of advantages, entitlements, benefits, and choices bestowed on people solely because they're white. I mean, hard for me not to click that, you know? That's the real discrimination. Judging another culture solely based on the standards and values of one's own culture. Correct. Ethnocentrism is a term used to describe the taking over of creative or artistic forms, a form of psychological manipulation in which a person or group covertly sows seeds of doubt, refers specifically to the ways in which institutional policies and practices create different outcomes for different racial groups, judging another culture solely based on the standards and values of one's own culture. So, I mean, this is so fucking boring. What's the difference between equity and equality? Equality means everyone's given the same resource. Equity means that everyone's given a resource that need to be succeed. Equity means everyone is given the same resources. Equality means that everyone is given the resources they need to succeed. Actually, I might get this wrong. What? Equality means everyone is given the same resources. Equity means that everyone is given... Okay, it's the right one. Oh! Equality means everyone's given the same resources. Equity means that everyone's given the resources they need to succeed. I got one wrong! It's over. It's Jover. It's over. I'm done. I'm not woke. I'm fake woke. Favors European cultural norms, excludes realities, Eurocentrism. Form of psychological manipulation, which, dude, I'm like the Geraint Bolt of this. You know what I mean? Geo Rain Bolt, sir. What does he play? What's the song that always Winter Vivaldi? A form of psychological manipulation in which a person or group covertly sows seeds of doubt. Gaslighting. Next. What is the gender binary? A person's innate sense of own gender. A social construction of gender in which there are two distinct... Next. Gender identity is a person's innate sense of their own gender. This may include identities on either of the gender binary, actively opposing discrimination based on race, judging by another culture solely on the standards of social construction of gender where there are two distinct... Next. Which of the following best describes the term gender nonconforming? A behavior of gender expression by an individual that does not match masculine or feminine gender norms. A societal construction of gender which there are two distinct. An identity term of a person who's attracted to people of all genders. Someone whose gender identity and expression line up with their birth. Next. What refers specifically to the ways in which institutional policies and practices create different outcomes for different racial groups? Institutional racism. Next. A learned fear and self-hatred of one's own identity and identity group basis acceptance of oppressive stereotypes, attitudes, and beliefs about their identity group is known as... I'm not even reading these. I'm just like saying it, but I'm not actually understanding what I'm even reading. A learned fear of self-hatred of one's own identity is internalized oppression. Next. Which term describes the idea that multiple identities intersect to create a whole identity, gender, race, intersectionality? Next. Layla, a Muslim woman, wears a hijab, avoids traveling by plane due to stares and negative attention from other passengers. This passenger's judgmental actions are examples of Islamophobia. Next. Microaggressions are the everyday verbal and nonverbal, whether intentional or unintentional, which communicate hostile, derogatory, negative messages. A term used to describe systems? No. A form of psychological manipulation? No. A learned fear and self-hatred? No. Next. Which of the following is a term used to describe systems, relations, or behaviors which disadvantage groups or individuals through formal institutions and informal attitudes and behavior? What? Which of the following is a term used to describe systems, relations, or behaviors which disadvantage groups or individuals through formal institutions or informal attitudes and behaviors? Oppression? Discrimination? I don't know. It says informal as well. Next. A person who's attracted to people of all genders likely identifies as pansexual. Next. The practice of compensating employees for the same when they perform or similar job duties while accounting for other factors such as experience, level of job performance is... Next. When someone from a non-marginalized group professes support and solidarity with the marginalized group in a way that is either helpful or actively harms our group, performative allyship. Next. A form of stereotyping based on preconceived ideas about a person's character based on their race is racial profiling. Next. A person whose gender identity does not align with the gender they were assigned to at birth. Transgender. Next. The unquestioned, unearned set of advantages, entitlements, benefits, choices bestowed on people solely because they're white. Next. Xenophobia refers specifically to the ways in which institutional policies. Nope. When someone of non-marginalized. Nope. System of oppression that works against the young. Nope. A system of oppression based on fear, hatred, mistrust. Next. Dislike or contempt or ingrained prejudice against women. Dislike of, contempt against, misogyny, which is good. Next. Critical race theory is a term used to create, nope. The idea of race is social construct, judging one's conduct, nope. Okay, next. That's the closest one. A university is under scrutiny for a lack of diversity on campus. The university does not change any of its admission policies or resources, but begins using photos of black students in their marketing materials to give a superficial appearance of equality. This is an example of tokenism. Next. What does the acronym LGBTQIA stand for? Lesbian, gay, black tokenism. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersexual, asexual, plus. Yeah. Next. Which of the following communities are subject to the model minority myth? Next. The social, economic, and political systems that collectively enable white people to maintain power over people of other races known as white supremacy. Next. I got 36 out of the 37 questions correctly. Thank you for taking the DEI vocabulary quiz. Ethnocentrism, we take those. Equity, got it. Gaslighting, darn. Trees look like gaslighting. All the quizzes we take at my job have a 65% passing grade, so you can miss a shit ton of these questions. They print out like a little certificate at the end with 68% on it. It's kind of hilarious. I've been taking these diversity trainings for over a decade. They are not like this. This one actually seems okay. I've never seen anti-Semitism, trans identity, or classism, or 90% of the shit in here mentioned. It's always something along the lines of black people aren't criminals and don't sexually assault female subordinates, or you will be fired and prosecuted. I clap this because it's a lot of the concepts that we talk about, and it's true. Everything that they mentioned here is true. So do you think that this is like genuinely like learning about this kind of stuff is legitimately a bad thing? No, of course not. It's a fundamental part of living in a fucking society, a diverse one with unique perspectives and unique backgrounds. It's so incredibly stupid. Ludwig will never beat that record. Yeah, he can't do that. He absolutely can't. No one can touch that record. I was so fucking fast on that shit, dude. My streamer, Diamond 3 in racism, so proud. Only a 36. I don't know if you're woke enough to be an ally. The only reason why I know about all these concepts is because I'm like a kung fu master, okay? I have learned everything about community, the movement, and, you know, allyship and whatnot, so I can effectively combat it. Do you understand?